Today is Saturday, the 9th of March 2024, and we are all gathered here for the 123rd session on mindfulness for beginners in the English medium conducted by Nissarana for Monastery under the guidance of Venerable Homagama Dhamma Kusala Thero. And I would like to welcome Venerable Bhante, Venerable Homagama Dhamma Kusala Thero to today's program on behalf of all of us with great respect. And furthermore, I would also like to welcome all of you who are joining through Zoom and also through the live stream over Facebook. The session will commence with the in-session practice to provide you some insight into actual practice during a session with guidance from Bhante, and then we will move on to the talk on mindfulness, which is a continuation from last week's topic as a second chapter sort of, and then we will move on to the question and answer session where we present written reports and any verbal questions from you to Bhante for advice, and then we will wrap up the program. So to commence things, I would like to invite Venerable Bhante to commence with the in-session practice for today. Over to Bhante. Much merits.
Thanks, Namanta. Hello, everyone. Today we have few minutes to do a mindfulness practice. Today we thought of changing the practice a little and doing something different that is related to the topic that we are discussing. For this, you just sit in a comfortable manner. If you feel like it, you can turn on video. Make sure that you are comfortable. Now what we are going to do is we are simply going to witness the present moment, witness our existence. You are seated in a comfortable manner and simply gonna witness your existence. If you feel like it, you can close your eyes. Otherwise, you can keep them open. You don't have to do anything. It's just simply be. Just witness the present moment. Your very existence, moment to moment, is a miracle. Simply witness that miracle that's happening in the present moment. Okay, everyone. Now you can gently open your eyes. Now, today, as the mindful practice, we didn't do much. Instead, simply we try to witness, be with the present moment, and just allow the things to happen. It was not about doing much, instead non-doing. We just witness what's happening in the present moment. That was our task today, and it's a miracle. Your very existence, moment to moment, is a miracle. So the invitation is to witness it. With that, now Mantha, you can take over.
Thank you very much, Bhante, and much merits for that final advice as well. Next, we have the talk on mindfulness coming up, and I would like to invite Venerable Bhante again to commence with the talk scheduled for today, which is a continuation of part 1 from last week. Over to Bhante again. I will share the screen with the topic.
Hello, everyone. We'll take some time to continue with the topic from last week, and we'll see how we can relate the same topic to our lives more and more. Now, if I start asking a question from you, what is the most important thing in your life right now? Just take few seconds to reflect. Different things might pop into your head. Again and again, you have to ask yourself, what is the most important thing in your life right now? If you really think about it, future doesn't matter. The future goals doesn't matter. Whatever the family problems that you have, they don't matter. Your past, it doesn't matter. Instead, the most important thing is that you are alive. The most important thing is that you are breathing. The most important thing is that you are able to walk. That very existence, that very moment is the most important thing to you. Right now, you are alive. Right now, you are breathing. Right now, you are walking. That very existence is the most precious thing. That very existence is the most important thing we have in our life. Nothing else. Future doesn't matter if your life doesn't last. Family problems, they don't matter if you stop existing in the next moment. Whatever that has happened in the past, it doesn't matter if you are not living, if no longer that you are alive. So you have to understand that this is the most important thing. This is the most precious thing that you have. If you don't have that, then other things, it doesn't really matter. So when it comes to mindfulness, when it comes to our practice, the very idea is simply accepting the present moment, witnessing the present moment. When we say mindfulness, it's simply being where your breath is. Simply being with the breath and know that you are breathing. That very knowing is mindfulness. Or simply being with where your feet are. Instead of wandering here and there, simply being where your feet are while walking. While doing your day-to-day activities, simply being with whatever the activity that you are doing. That very existence is so precious. That very existence is a miracle. So that's why we say, simply accept this miracle. When I say this, there's this quote. I think it's from Kung Fu Panda. It says that yesterday is history. Tomorrow is a mystery. Today is a gift. That's why it is called the present. So simply accepting this gift, simply accepting this miracle that you are witnessing, that is the most precious thing. That is the most important thing that's happening in your life. If you don't have that, then nothing else would really matter. Your future, it won't matter if you are not existing. Your family problems, they don't matter if you are not existing. Your past trauma, it doesn't matter if you are not existing. So this is the most precious thing. This very precious thing we have to accept. This very precious thing we have to witness. Because you don't know how long you will live. You don't know how long your relationships might last. No, the next moment, it's not guaranteed to us. That's the issue. Every second, 2 people die in this world. Just wait a second and see whether you are the next person. Not sure. It's not guaranteed. So if still you are alive in the next second, then you can be grateful. Still I am alive. Still I am breathing. Still I am walking. Still I am able to continue with whatever the activity that I am doing. That very gratefulness is important because you don't know when this will end. There's no guarantee. Recent incidents, even from various regions of the world, you come to realize this more and more. Even being a child, 2 months old, being a baby, it's not guaranteed. You don't know whether it will last. Next moment is not guaranteed. So this very existence, it's a gift. It's so precious. If we don't have that, then nothing else would really matter. So in a way, when we continue with the mindfulness, when we continue with our practice, we are being grateful that you are still living. You are being grateful that you are still breathing. You are being grateful that you are still walking. You are being grateful that you are still able to talk to the person that is dear to you. You are being grateful that you are still able to talk to the family members. That very gratefulness we don't have. That very witnessing we don't have. We prefer doing other things while talking to people. You look at your phone while talking to your spouse. That's how we live. But one day, when you are no longer there, you might really miss the time that you have spent. And those times you didn't get to spend it wholeheartedly. That very gift you didn't accept very well. So this very existence, it is not guaranteed to us in the next moment. So what we are doing is simply being grateful that we are still breathing. Simply being grateful that we are still walking. Simply being grateful that you are still able to continue with whatever the task you are doing. Simply being grateful the time with your family members. Simply being grateful the time that you have with your friends. That very precious gift you are accepting, that very miracle you are witnessing. Next moment you might die, but still you could die peacefully, knowing that you tried to live your life wholeheartedly. Knowing that you try to accept this gift wholeheartedly. That is the very idea of this practice. Every second, 2 people die in this world. Every second. So how could you say maybe next moment, next second might be yours? We really don't know. It's not sure. That very uncertainty will allow us to appreciate the very moment, the precious gift that is happening in the moment, or precious miracle that is happening in the moment. That's what you are doing. It's all uncertain. We don't know what will happen tomorrow. We don't know what will happen tonight. You may have so many plans for the future, but if you are not existing tomorrow, then those plans, they don't matter anymore. That very uncertainty is there in this life. You may have 1001 hopes about your family, about your children, about your work, various things. You may have 1001 hopes, but still, if tomorrow is not guaranteed, if you're not existing tomorrow, then what happens to those plans? Then what happens to the money that you have earned so greedily? What happened to the things that you have accumulated? Those things, they don't matter anymore. Those future plans, they don't matter anymore. Whatever the things you were trying to do, they don't matter anymore. So this very moment, the most precious thing that you have is your very existence. It's a miracle. Moment by moment, we are simply witnessing a miracle. That is the very idea of this practice. Now, some people think when we introduce the practice of mindfulness, some people, they think that it's about shutting down the senses. Now, even yesterday, one boy, he was asking, I don't feel like doing this because it's more like shutting down my senses. Simply bringing my attention to a single object, concentrating on a single task while suppressing the others, while closing the doors for the other things. So that comment, it might be from somebody who doesn't know the practice. That is the issue. Otherwise, if you really know the practice, it's not about shutting down the things. It's not about shutting down the sense doors. Instead, simply opening them up more and more. The practice is not about blinding yourself. It's about opening your eyes more and more. Right? So for a beginner, they might feel that this is about, suppressing other things, refusing other things, and simply concentrating on a single task. And you are blinded for the surrounded things, you are blinded for the surrounded sights. That way you think. But if you truly know the practice, although you may start like that, with time you realize it's not about closing your eyes. Instead, it's about opening your eyes more and more. It's not about shutting down the sense doors. Instead, it's about opening your sense doors more and more. That is the very idea. Now, even today, during the sitting session, we just simply sat, just being, witnessing what is happening in the present moment. We didn't have any preference over things. I didn't ask you to give priority to the bodily sensations. We didn't have any preference during that sitting time. Instead, whatever that's happening in the present moment, you are simply witnessing. It could be surrounding sounds. It could be some thoughts, memories. It could be bodily sensations. It could be various other things that you feel. Whatever that appears in the present moment, you simply witness it. So in this Zen practice, they call this just sitting. Shikantaza, they say just sitting, simply witnessing the present moment, just walking, simply witnessing the present moment. And they say you can't get it wrong. Why you can't get it wrong? Because you don't have any preference. If you have a preference for your breath, then you might get it wrong. You can't keep your attention with the breath for a long period. But if you don't have such preference, you are simply being there. You are simply witnessing what is happening in the present moment. And when you do that, you can really notice this miracle. You can really feel how life is unfolding. Moment to moment, how life is unfolding. Things are happening. The surrounding sounds are there. If your eyes are open, you may even notice the sights that surrounds you. Various thoughts, memories, future plans may come and go. The bodily sensations are also there. Some unidentified feelings, sensations to come and go. But among all these things, you are simply witnessing. You are more and more present with this miracle. You are more and more living your life. Life is happening in the present moment, not in the future, not yesterday. As that quote said, yesterday it's history. Tomorrow it's a mystery. You don't know what will happen tomorrow. Today, that's the gift that we have to accept. That's the miracle that we have to notice. So this way, we simply try to notice our very existence. We just be with our existence. And when you do that, various things are unfolding. Life is unfolding. Things are happening, but simply you are witnessing these things. It's not about shutting down the sense doors. It's not about blinding yourself. Instead, it's about opening your sense doors more and more. It's about opening your eyes. When you do this, you really start to feel the life unfolding in the present moment. You start to hear so many sounds from the surrounding, and you are aware. You see people doing various things, acting, talking, various things they do. You are simply noticing. Thoughts come to your mind, future planning, past incidents, problems. These things come and go. You are simply noticing. The breath is happening in your body. You are simply noticing. Some irritations appear in your body. You are simply noticing. So everything is happening. You simply witness the present moment. You simply witness the miracle that's happening in the present moment. That's the very practice. And when you do it, when initially you might struggle, initially it's hard for you to get used to this. But with time, within few days of practice, you start to feel, when you witness this miracle, it is so peaceful. It is so comfortable. In your mind, you are comfortable. In your mind, you are peaceful. You are simply witnessing this very moment. You are simply witnessing the present moment. That is the very idea. And when things happen, naturally there's this urge within. There's this urge to interfere. That is there in us. Whatever happens, there's this urge for us to interfere. Let's say while walking, as long as you don't pay attention, it's fine. As long as you are not with the present moment, it's fine. The body walks. But be attentive of the present moment. Start noticing that you are walking in the present moment. the walking becomes forceful. Some people, they can't even walk. They say, I can't walk now because of this meditation, being with the walking. Then even during the sitting, the breathing happens for so long. It's not a problem, but you just try to be with the present moment. You just try to witness the present moment, and the breathing becomes forceful. So in us, there's this urge to interfere. We can't just allow the body to walk and witness. That's not possible for us. Instead, we want to interfere with that walking. We can't simply allow the body to breathe and witness. Instead, we want to interfere with that breathing. So the breathing becomes forceful, the walking becomes forceful. This happens. So we have this urge to interfere to whatever that's happening. But with repetitive practice, you develop the ability to simply witness, to simply observe without interfering. You are simply able to be with the natural walking. You are simply able to be with the natural breathing. That very ability you will develop with repetitive practice. Now you have the ability to observe. Now you have the ability to witness without interfering. That ability is so important. That ability is so precious. And even when it comes to your day-to-day life, when it comes to your family matters, some people think that this ability is not helpful. It's not good to simply witness without interfering. If somebody is doing something wrong, you have to interfere and tell them. If something bad is happening, you have to interfere and, prevent it. So this idea there in this world, if you are living this life, you have to interfere with it. You have to tell others that they are doing something wrong. You have to prevent bad things from happening. So that very idea is there in this society. So most people think that the ability to observe without interfering, that's a bad quality when it comes to the usual life. But the practitioner, they realize, if I have this quality, then it is so helpful in our daily life. We create a whole mess of things because we want to interfere. We have this urge to interfere. But if you have the ability simply to witness, simply to observe without interfering, then the life becomes much more simple. The life becomes much more peaceful. There are certain occasions, of course, you have to act, but majority of the time, most of the time, it's simply witnessing without interfering. Things are happening according to their own nature. You don't have to interfere with it much. People are coming, they appreciate your company, they stay for some time, but after a while they prefer going away. That's the nature of this life. When they try to go away, you try to prevent them. But does it work? Usually it doesn't work. Even if they stay, they'll complain, they'll blame you for forcing them to stay. So time to time, people come, they enjoy our company, they stay, then after a while, they go away. When they come, simply witness that. When they enjoy our company, simply witness that. When they want to go away, when they are moving away, simply witness that. Time to time, the problems come. You feel this pain in your mind. You feel this friction in your mind. You feel these emotions in your mind. Simply witness that these emotions are coming. It is creating friction. You feel pain. You feel like crying. These things are there. Simply witness how they appear. Simply witness for some time they last. Maybe for few hours, maybe for even few days. They last. And after a while, maybe without even informing you, they go away. So you just simply witness how the things are appearing, how these problems are appearing, how this friction is appearing. You simply witness their existence, and you simply witness their cessation. So this way, you develop the ability to interfere less and less. Things are happening according to their own nature, but you are simply witnessing it. Most of the time, you don't have to interfere. Only once in a blue moon, you have to interfere. Only once in a blue moon, you have to do something. Most of the problems, they'll solve themselves. Most of the issues, they'll solve themselves. Most of the people, they'll learn themselves. Although you try to teach them, it doesn't work. Teaching others, it's not easy. If you have this intention of teaching others, you'll end up frustrated. That's the only idea. Instead, simply, teach yourself. Instead, simply take care of your life. And that will be a silent sermon for others as well. But if you try teaching others, then you might end up like a tired parent. That happens to parents as well. And at the end of the day, the children hate them and they are tired, they are frustrated because they tried so much. They tried to interfere, they tried to solve these things, they tried to advise, they tried to show the proper way. It doesn't work like that. At the end of the day, you end up frustrated. At the end of the day, you end up tired. So if you simply have this ability, simply you are witnessing or not telling anything, you know that the child is doing something wrong, but you let them learn their own lesson. If it is life-threatening, of course, you can interfere, but most of the time, they'll learn their lesson. That very ability is really important, even in the parenting. The ability to observe without interfering. That very ability is precious. That very ability, we train ourselves. That's what we are doing. Usually when the urges come, we are caught in those urges. When the happiness is there, we are happy. When the sadness is there, we are sad. When the worries are there, we are worried. When the anger is there, we are burning with anger. That's how it is. But if you know this ability to witness, simply anger is anger, it's not yours. The thoughts are simply thoughts, it's not your thoughts. The emotions are just simply emotions, it's not your emotions. That ability will follow, not initially, not within a day, not within a week, but with time, that ability will follow. You simply know that the anger is there, but in the meantime, so many other things are also there. So many sounds are there, so many other thoughts are there, so many sights are there. That very vastness you notice, that very openness you have in your mind. The anger is not your world. Anger is there, it's a part of your world, but the other things are also there. The sadness is there in your mind. You feel sad, I feel sad. But it's just a part of your world. Other things are also there. Right? So this way, you are not caught in that emotion. You are not caught in that feeling. You are not caught in that thought. That very ability will follow if you keep practicing. Within few weeks, few months, you can experience this. Now, in the Bible, there's this very nice story about Jesus coming across a dead dog. When you come across a dead dog, what's your feeling? Usually, we want to avoid this. We don't like this sight. But Jesus, he was commenting about how lovely the teeth of that dog is. The dog is dead, maybe rotting. But still he commented on the teeth, how lovely the teeth is on this dead dog. Right? So that, what is that quality? Something bad is there. Something bad is there. But instead of giving your attention to that, you can give your attention to something else. Maybe something good. Maybe something neutral. That is the very vastness, that is the very openness that we are talking about. Sometimes different emotions are there. Sometimes you are angry, you feel sad, I feel sad. But apart from the sadness, there are other things as well. You can bring your attention to these other things. You can bring your attention to something positive. You can bring your attention to something neutral. Why? Because you are not caught in that emotion. You are not caught in that ugly feeling. You are not caught in that sadness. Instead, your mind is more vast. That vastness is there in your mind. That openness is there in your mind. Although the sadness, although the ugly feeling is there are other things as well. It's not your entire world. Simply, it's just a part of your present reality. So that ability is very important. You can intentionally bring attention to something that is worthwhile. Instead of, worrying, thinking, becoming more and more sad, you can bring your attention to something else. That very ability will come with repetitive practice. Your mind becomes more open. It is not caught in a single thing. It sees a much bigger picture. Then you can pick and choose where to give your attention. So that way, we have to continue our practice. That way, we can see how we can navigate this life of ours much better. That ability is important. You are simply witnessing the life unfolding. You don't try to have control over the others. Most people think that the real power is the power over others. But the real power is the power over you. If you don't have the power over you, then no point in having the power over others. So this is the ability. This is the power over you. You have certain emotions. You are sad. But among these things, you know where to bring your attention. You have power over you. You think thoughts, various things are there. But among these things, you know that you are walking. Among these things, you know that you are breathing. Among these things, you know that you are talking to somebody. That very power is important. So this is more about the power over oneself. Instead of having power over others, this is power over you. And that's the real power. It's not about controlling others. Instead, you are having power over you. That's why even the Buddha says, you go to the battlefield and you win over 1,000 people, but still it's more worthwhile to win yourself. Outside battlefield, it's much easier to win. win over others, but it's so difficult sometimes to win over you. So difficult to have power over you. Because in this process, your mental strength is tested. Your mental strength is put to the test. Now, even to this monastery, some of the army trained people, there were like somebody from a commando unit, and such people, so many people came. They have army training, but still, when they start this meditation practice, it's your mental strength. It's not the bodily strength. It's not the physical strength. It's your mental strength that is put to the test. And within few days, they run for their dear life sometimes. Some people, they stay for a few weeks and say, this is the hardest training I have gone through. Why? This is more about conquering oneself. Instead of conquering 1,000 people, 1,000 outside people, this is more about conquering oneself. And it's not easy, but it's something worthwhile. It's the task that you have to do. It's the purpose of this life. There's nothing else. There's nothing greater. Simply notice the existence moment to moment. Simply witness the miracle moment to moment. With that, we'll end today's talk. Thank you for listening.
Thank you and much praise, Bhante, for that excellent talk on the topic for today. I'm sure we gained a lot of insight on that. And next we have the question and answer session coming up, and I would like to invite Sonali. Sorry, I would like to invite, apologies, Lushani. I would like to invite Lushani to commence the question and answer session, and I will share the screen for the introduction to beginners slide, which is traditionally shared by us. Okay.
Lushani, Namanta has forgotten your name.
It's mostly Sonali there, so the brain circuits are malfunctioning due to old age. Sorry about that.
Apology accepted. No worries, Namanta. It's nice to be named someone else, so now and then it's okay. So with that, thank you, Bhante, for that very valuable talk today. I think there's a lot to learn from it, and I will definitely actually bear some very important points in that talk in the next month. So before we go on to the reports, as Bhante said, obviously you can see the importance of putting this into practice with both mindful walking and sitting. So for those of you who have joined today, just a few reminders, and for those who are already here, just restating the importance of the practice. So if you can watch we've got YouTube videos to watch mindful walking and sitting, and Mantha has shared. He will also share the links on the chat. Try to start with doing at least 15-20 minutes every day, and then if you can then increase it to like 1 hour each of mindful walking and mindful sitting. That's where you can really start seeing the practice. So try to do it at any time that you feel is most comfortable for you. I usually tend to do it first thing in the morning, but there is no time, so whenever you can find some quiet time to do the practice, that would be the best time for you. Also, it's nice to put what you experience in a reflection report. You will see, I'll read 2 reports later from some others who have shared it with us. So you can describe what you felt when you were walking or sitting, and through the practice, sort of everything that you felt. So for example, if you were walking, the texture of the ground or the pressure points on your soles, etc. Any thoughts that come in, how you felt, the breath on the nostrils if you're doing the sitting practice. And then you can send those reports to us. You can either send it through Google Forms or email. Both those links are there. Now Mantha will share those links. And obviously continue the practice. And when you share the reports, what is really good is that Bhante will be able to give you further guidance on how to continue with the practice. And that's the most important. And we're very blessed to have that guidance from Bhante. So with that, I think I can start reading the reports. So, Bhavasarai Bhante, there are 2 reports for today. The first report is sitting meditation, initially noting position of body, contact with cushion, hands on each other on lap, cold, warmer areas, watching breath as primary object. Mind stayed on in and out breaths and the changing lengths, initially longer out breath and later equal in length. The breath appeared and disappeared in different cycles, mind calm after initial short distractions with thoughts. Meditated for 45 minutes. Mindfulness in day. More aware when mind is upset or happy, but due to this awareness, able to bring mind to a more neutral situation in short time periods. Less situations of impatience arising and saying or acting accordingly. Aware of greed arising with regards to food and lack of control in some situations, despite aware of negative consequences. With much gratitude to Bhante and organizers. End of the report.
Okay, so you get carried away with things time to time, but you are able to return to a balanced position much faster. That is the very idea. Don't think that you won't get carried away. That's not humanly possible. Instead, you get carried away, but you are returning at a much faster rate. Returning to a balanced position time after time. That very idea is the practice. That very ability is the practice. Then things happen. Sometimes you get carried away, sometimes you make mistakes, but next moment is again fresh, right? It is not polluted. It is not, having problems, issues. Instead, the next moment is precious. The next moment is fresh, not polluted. Again, you can start over. Again, you can continue doing things. Again, you can correct yourself. That very ability is important. And if you exercise that ability, then you are not growing old. Instead, you are becoming more and more younger. You grow younger. Why? Because now you really start to live. Whatever happens, you simply acknowledge, you know that you made a mistake. But next moment, it is afresh. Greed could be there. It's about various things. That's fine. That's human nature. Sometimes your mind is asking something. You give the thing that the mind is asking. Instead of a single plate, give it 2 plates, and see how the desire, the greed is changing. Maybe initially appreciating, but with time, halfway into the meal, now the mind is sick and tired of this. So that very observation is the important thing. We are not trying to, prevent these things. Instead, just simply observe how the greed is there, how the desire is there, and how it is changing with time. If you do that observation, you realize the greed, desire is there, but soon they evolve into something else. That process we don't see because of the ignorance in us, because of the blindness in us. But the mindful practitioner, when they open their eyes more and more, they start to feel how the greed is evolving. Sometimes you give in to the greed, but still you can see how the greed is evolving in that process. Right? So that very observation you have to continue and allow these things to happen. The very same process, what you were explaining, don't think about a different way, don't expect a different way. Instead, this is the very same process. And more you do it, you realize you are growing younger. Things happen, but next moment you are again afresh. Next moment you correct yourself. Again things happen, again you correct yourself. That very ability is so precious. That very ability is important. If you have that ability, then you are not growing old. The body might be old, but still you are young at heart because you accept the next moment. It is afresh. That's the idea I want to give. Continue that way and see how it evolves.
Thank you, Bhante. The second report for the day, mindful walking. Walk to town with a family member, mostly on pavement. Attention naturally moved to feet movement. Noted that the heartbeat was quick and the upper body was leaning forward while going up the hilly area. Calf muscles had a burning sensation which passed away when walking downhill. Interactions with family member didn't deter much from mindful walking, as awareness would return to body weight shifting from side to side or to feet movements in between. Walked for 25 minutes and felt energized afterwards. Mindful sitting. Sat on low stool. After a body scan, the posture was adjusted. Noted that the mind was busy with lots of thoughts, memories, and some emotions. Watched the busy mind and allowed it to be. These passed away only to be replaced by more thoughts and memories. Watch those passing away too. This felt like being in a busy market with various sights, sounds, and smells, but walking past without feeling overwhelmed. Sat for 55 minutes. On reflection, most of the session was busy, although was left with an underlying calm feeling afterwards. Perhaps just watching without interfering helped. Mindfulness during the day. It feels like something in life has changed, but also as if nothing has changed. The usual madness is there in the external world as well as in the internal world. Regular news stories don't seem to grab much attention, hence there's less emotional reaction coming up. Some people who usually press the buttons carry on doing their pressing, but notice a difference in the responses in the mind. That usual reaction of wanting to correct others or taking their bait is happening less. Mind is noting what is happening externally as well as emotions and opinions arising internally. Without a lot of interest in wanting to act out, there is confidence in the mind with regards to when to act and when to let things pass. This was experienced as freedom and peace few times last week. Dear Bhante, look forward to your valuable feedback and much merit to you and the organizers. End of the second report.
Okay, that has a lot of insightful experiences. Now, if I start with that watching without interfering, that was the word for today, right? So we are simply witnessing what is happening. And the mind is so busy. When you witness that, even it becomes more busy. So the chaos is there, the crazy is there. That's fine. We simply witness. We simply witness without interfering. That ability is important. And when you do that, you realize this entire thing, this entire busyness, this entire chaos, it's happening in a fabric of calmness. Why? Because now you are not identified with the chaos. You simply observe. You don't interfere. Right? So it's okay for the mind to be like this. It's okay. You don't have to worry about it. Simply witness. That's why Nietzsche is saying that you should still have crazy within in order to give birth to a dancing star. That's one of the quotes from him. The crazy within, the chaos within, in order to give birth to a dancing star. So it's the same for you as well. If you want to give birth to a dancing star, let the chaos be. Let this busy mind be. You should have it. That's where the real growth comes. That's where the real insight comes. Most people, they have this weird idea about meditation. They think that it's some kind of a high state, right? You consume some drug and everything is, closed off and you float in some space. That's what most people think about meditation. But that's not the meditation we are talking about. It's just simply witness what is happening. Busy mind is there, simply witness it. This chaos is there, simply witness it. That's the way to get real insight. If you just close these things off, if you just shut these doors, insight won't come. Wisdom won't arise. Instead, simply your foolishness will continue. Right? So among the chaos only, you can give birth to a dancing star. That's the very ability that we are exercising. And when you do it, you feel like something has changed. But in the meantime, you feel that nothing has changed. You are the very same person, but still you feel like something has changed. Right? So that's the very experience for a meditator. They know that this is happening. They know that you are the very same person, but still it feels like something has changed. So I too am experiencing this. Now I feel more and more like the very same old person who was in a lay life. Right? But still there's some change. Maybe outside appearance, like, bald head and the robes and stuff. But even inside, I am the very same person who was a layman some time back. Nothing has changed. But still something has changed. Initially, you can't really say that. Initially, when you become a monk, everything has changed. That's how you feel. Maybe for like few years, you are totally different. Everything has changed now. You are not the very same person. That way you live. But you continue for some years, then you realize I am the very same person. Nothing has changed. Still, it feels like something has changed. That's the very process. So when you experience this, you know that you are the same person, but still you know that there is some difference. Something has changed as well, right? So just continue with this observation. Just continue with this practice. And the final point, that's about, you are finding the proper balance about when to act and when to let things be. Right? So that ability it's a unique balance for you. I can't suggest you a balance. I can give you the information. When I talk, I give this side and that side. There's no real answer in it. But you yourself has to find the proper balance. It depends on your life. That's a unique balance for you. And that balance also changing daily, evolving daily. So this process is really dynamic. Right? Today's balance won't be right for tomorrow. Tomorrow has its own unique balance. Today's teaching won't be right for tomorrow. Tomorrow has its own unique teaching. Right? So that's the proper way. That's the way. This is a ever-changing flux of things. So if you try to fix a balance today, tomorrow you are mistaken. Right? So each day, each moment, it has its own balance. It is ever evolving, ever changing. So now you are understanding this is how I have to balance things. This is the balance that works for me. Maybe within few weeks you will say now is the proper balance. Earlier, 1 month ago, it wasn't exactly correct. Now I know the proper balance. And 1 year after, you'll say something totally different. So that's the reality. That's how it is. So I allow this ever-changing flux of things to have its own unique balance. Each day, each moment has its own balance. Some days you are full of energy, and that day you'll have a certain balance. Some days you don't have so much energy. That day you'll have a different balance. Some days things are peaceful. You'll have a certain balance. Some days things are so chaotic. You'll have some other balance. So it is always evolving, ever changing, ever evolving. That's the proper way. That's the very way. Don't think even to fix today's thing for tomorrow. That won't happen. Right? So this way you have to explore. This way you have to continue with your practice. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you, Bhante, for that valuable guidance. So now we have a few minutes to ask any questions from Bhante. So if you have any questions, please raise your Zoom hand so we can unmute and you can ask your question. So it's a great time to ask all those burning questions from Bhante. Yes, Kihanta, go ahead.
Thank you, Rashani. Bhante, been doing a bit of reflection, and a question I would like to ask respectfully is in a lot of Buddhist discussions and even sort of the way it is taught to us, we are told that the ultimate goal of our path is wisdom. Can you clarify in very sort of simple layman terms what you mean or what you think this wisdom is? Because obviously what we do in sessions like this, the weekly program, is linked to gaining that wisdom. So I'd just like you to clarify what this wisdom is. Thank you, Bhante.
In other words, we can say our foolishness is reducing. Now, even the earlier experience that person was mentioning about things on news, right? So news, majority of the things are negative. And mostly it's happening, it's not related to you. If the news is related to you, it should talk about your mental health. It should talk about how to resolve your family matters. It should talk about, how to face day-to-day challenges. That's relevant to us, right? So the news, it's not relevant to us. It's something happens maybe other side of the world. Even we got to know that in Ottawa, Canada, 6 Sri Lankans were murdered, and 4 of them were children. 2 months, 2 years, 4 years, 7 years. Right? So that's, although it's a news, it doesn't add any value. It doesn't add any value. And, still we hear it. And in a way, it's good to reflect upon life. That's something I related even during today's talk. Next moment is not guaranteed. Those children, those babies, they don't even know what has happened to them. So that's life. That's life. The life is so cruel. Next moment, you don't know. It's not guaranteed. Right? But still we keep planning 20 years ahead. 20 years ahead. Those people who has died, they too had such plans. Right? But still their plans are no longer valid. Yes. So that's the thing. That's the thing. So news, it's majority of the news, they are negative, negatively biased. And those negative things, blood, those wars, various diseases, they grab our attention easily. Our minds too are negatively biased, right? So that person was sharing that usually earlier when I hear these negative things, my mind is troublesome due to the news, due to the incident. But now my mind is not so much moved by the news. Still you are watching, that's fine. Still you are watching. Sometimes you have to watch and see whether you are really moved, right? So that very experience, if you take Gihanta, so earlier there were lot more foolishness in the mind, and that's why those news stories, they kept repeating in your own mind. Instead of having peace in the present moment, that mind was wandering in those negative news stories. Now, then much better. Now, still the news stories are there. Still you are watching. But those incidents are not so much relevant. That very change is wisdom, we can say.
Thank you, Bhante. Thank you, Dhyansa, for that valuable question. Are there any other questions anyone else would like to ask? Please raise your Zoom hand. Until you raise your Zoom hand, Panchani, go ahead. Are you able to unmute yourself, Panchani?
Avasarai Bhante, can you hear me, Lushani?
Yes, can hear you well.
Bhante, I just wanted to ask you, I've been really struggling with energy levels. I do my sitting practice and walking practice in the morning, go to work. Some days I'm really full of energy, like really unusual energy. And then there are some days really lethargic and tired. It's just ever so changing. I just wondered whether this is common in the practice.
Yeah, that happens. That happens. Sometimes, you are full of energy. You feel like, doing anything and everything. Next day, no energy. Even to, move around, you don't have energy. Right? So that's that very change we have to accept. And depending on the energy you perform. If you lack energy, you can't do many things. That awareness you have to have. Based on today's energy, you have to perform. Even these sessions, some days, even I am bored. I can feel that boredom even in the session. Some days it's full of energy. Right? So that you can't fight it. That's how it is. And when you accept it, every day it becomes a unique quest. If you start, powering through, having low energy, then it's not so good. It's not so healthy. So depending on the energy, you have to find your balance. Depending on the energy, you have to do. Especially for practitioners, the non-practitioners, they don't have this problem. Right? They have so much energy. Usually the defilements, these thoughts, emotions, they give us the energy. When you're angry, you have all the energy in the world. When you are lustful, you don't even know what's happening. So much energy, right? You are bursting with energy, right? So those thoughts, emotions, getting caught in them, that's how we get energy. So what happens when your mind is not so much moved by them? Then it becomes the boredom. Boredom hits you, even for days, you struggle with energy. You can't even function. You can't even brush your teeth. But that process you have to go through. So long-term practitioners, they really have to find a way to maintain their energy. It's something for the long-term meditators. It's something important. It's something interested. So even for me, the weekends are full of energy usually because I have so many programs during the weekends. Then on Mondays, you hit the rock bottom, right? Then it takes maybe 3 days for me to, gather my energy afterwards. Then again by Wednesday, Thursday, you start, bursting with energy. That's how it is, what to do. What to do. That very acceptance is important. And you can, find tricks, find various ways, be skillful, and, find ways to maintain your energy. Right? So those things are unique to you. You have to find ways, Now getting involved in these type of programs also, it is helpful for us to, be motivated, be energetic. Those are useful, certain tools. Then maybe, workouts might help. Workouts, they give you energy. So this way, you have to find a way to, maintain your energy. Still, some days you are full of energy, some days you have low energy. Knowing this, accepting this, we try to navigate, right? So for long-term meditators, this energy thing is a real struggle, but you have to go through that struggle. You have to find your own unique ways how to maintain energy, and don't fight it. If you have low energy, no point in fighting it. Instead, somehow be conscious, accept that today I am having low energy, and based on that energy you can perform. Tomorrow you have full of energy, that's too is fine. So this way the energy is changing. It's natural especially for long-term practitioners.
Thank you, Bhante. I just feel sorry for the kids in the class lacking energy.
And sometimes I feel sorry for the participants in these programs. Yeah. When my energy is low, that happens. What to do? And that's how it is.
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you, Panchani. Bhante, if I may ask a very quick question. You talked about sort of observing and then not interfering. So in day-to-day life, I observe, and then when I see something, then I don't feel like interfering, so it just passes away. But the problem is after maybe even a day or two, especially when it comes to mostly with other everybody, I can sort of forget it, and then it just goes on because I know things happen the way it is. But when it comes to children, or in my case, my young adults, then I think I should, I observed it passed away, but then I think, as the mother, I have to give them some advice. What do I do in those situations, Bhante? Should I just observe that thought and let it pass away? Or because I feel like if I don't advise or give some guidance, I'm not doing my duty as the mother. So that's a small question I have, a big conflict there.
Yes, I understand that situation. Now, they are in a age that will teach you this lesson, right? Yes, that's the thing. They are not so little. They have grown up and almost adults. So they are in an age that will teach you a lot, right? They'll teach you. So that's how it is, in a way you feel like it's your duty to behave them. In a way, interfering too much, it won't help. That too is there. The parents who interfere with everything, they don't do a good job. The child becomes dependent on them forever, and even as adults, the parents have to take care of them. That's not also good. So you have to find the proper balance. Now, duty-wise, you are not ignoring your responsibility. You are not avoiding your responsibility. Instead, you know what's happening, right? You are conscious. You are attentive. It's like a wise parent. The parent, mother or father, just reading the newspaper, but closely watching the child as well. It appears like they are reading the newspaper, but they have attention about the child. So that very balance is important. If I say not to interfere with everything, then that's not correct. That's not correct. You have to interfere. Certain occasions, life-threatening situations, you have to interfere. Otherwise, it's not good. They need time for them to, survive in this world. So in the meantime, that protection should be there. But if you interfere too much, they end up hating you. That's why the children, especially this new age, by the time they are 16, 18, they'll end up hating their parents. They hate the parents. Then secondly, they hate the children, teachers. Right? Why? Because trying to behave them. The mother, father, they have provided for their 18, 16 years. They have done everything, but they end up hating them. Why? This is the thing. So you have to, it's like that earlier report, the balance, right? When to act, when not to act. That balance, it's a unique balance. It's a unique balance for you as well. If you have been a parent who interferes a lot, maybe that balance lies in the other extreme, right? So you have to find your own balance and you have to let them learn. And there'll be opportunities for you to tell them that lesson, maybe not right on the spot, but later if you are patient enough, if you have this ability, then there'll be opportunities for you to give them that lesson, and they'll be in a much better accepting mood when you deliver it like that, right? So it's all about being skillful, how to be a wise parent, right? That balance, it's a unique balance. It's a dynamic balance. That balance you have to find. Remember when we met, you were talking about your son's gaming addiction or something, and I advised, you wanted me to advise. I told him that I too played games and it's fun, so I encouraged it a little bit. So the advice maybe was to you, I guess.
And Bhante, I must share that with you. So you advised him to become the best gamer in the world, right? So and he came home and he sold all his gaming equipment and stopped gaming. Honestly, I tried all these years to tell him to stop it, and he didn't. And the moment you told him he should become the best gamer, he doesn't game now. He stopped it. I don't know. He just sold everything and now he doesn't game.
So,
I mean, he actually had he was addicted to gaming and now he's just stopped.
yeah. So certain phases are there now, even as young adults, they have to experiment with these things. I remember I too spent so many hours doing such things and maybe watching TV shows, the same TV show, 10 seasons, 24 episodes, again and again watching, right? Then the gaming, online gaming. So those things they are phases, but there are cases where you get really addicted and sometimes you even need professional help, right? So those things are even there, even this murder case. it says that it might be some gaming addiction where you kill people online. Those type of games are also there. They are really addictive, and it drives you crazy. So those things are also there. So that's why you can't totally let go. You can't totally avoid. Instead, you keep an eye. You interfere when necessary. That balance you have to find. That way only you can win their heart. Otherwise, it's difficult. Especially at that age, it's difficult. Younger ones, they usually listen. But when they become like 14, 16, 18, it's really hard. So it's a lesson for you. It's a kamatahana for you, right? So you have to find the proper balance, and it's always experimenting. Today you might get it wrong, but tomorrow it's a fresh day, right? That way continue, and I'm sure you'll find your own unique balance.
Thank you, Bhante. Are there any other questions? Otherwise, I think we are slightly over time as well. Thank you so much to everyone, and thank you, Bhante, so much for that valuable guidance and advice and the Kamatahan. Saranai. Over to you now, Mantha.
Thank you very much, Lushani, for conducting the question and answer session, and much praise to you. And much praise to Bhante, and thank you, Bhante, for an excellent and well-guided session with a lot of insight and advice today. I hope everybody is able to remember and apply the concepts and insights gained. I would like to share the merits accumulated with Veneral Bhante Homagama Dhamma Kusala Thero through this session and program today. And wish that these merits shared with Bhante will enable Bhante to achieve higher phases of mindfulness in the future, and also achieve objectives of the path, and wish Bhante long life and good health. Furthermore, I would like to also wish these merits to be shared with the chief abbot of the Nissarana Forest Monastery, the Most Venerable Bhante Thero, for insightfully requesting this program to be structured in this way, and we wish him great health and long life, and also wish his own mindfulness objectives will be fulfilled quickly. Furthermore, there is a wonderful team of organizers behind this program who are putting in a lot of effort to maintain the quality through effort and monitoring of this program performance. So I would like to share all these merits with those organizers, and wish their objectives of mindfulness will be fulfilled, and that they also will gain higher capabilities to apply mindfulness into the future. I would like to also thank and share merits with all of you who joined the session today through the Zoom session and also through the Facebook live stream, and wish all of your objectives of mindfulness will be achieved, and that you will also gain many benefits of mindfulness by learning and applying in this manner through Zoom and these kind of remote sessions programs as well. And thank you for providing us a backbone to have this program by attending these sessions. I would like to remind that this is a weekly program. It will run in same manner, same time next Saturday as well, starting at 1 p.m. Sri Lankan time, wherever you are located geographically. And we will have the program running this Saturday. So I would like to wish all of you a happy and mindful week ahead, and please try to apply these principles and develop better mindfulness, if I may say so. And then we will meet next week Saturday again for a similar session with Bhante's guidance. Thank you so much, and I will end the Zoom session now. Have a great week ahead.